Hey, good morning, options traders. What's happening, everybody? Well, I had another trader ask about the time cycle tool in E-Trade and said, what is this thing and how do you use it? It's a really handy little tool because it allows you to just compare the percentage change from point A to point B of a stock or an index. And that can be really helpful for options traders because it can give you a sense of how aggressively a stock has been moving over certain time periods, or what might be an average type of move for this stock. But it gives you a really good visual and gives you all of the calculations you'll need to know. So the thing that you're going to be looking at for a little refresher is the percentage change. And what we're trying to figure out is how much did the stock price increase or decrease over a given time. That's what this tool is going to show you. And so I've talked about this before, but for a quick review, let's look at the calculations. You're going to be comparing the ending price relative to a beginning price. The ending price is whichever price you're interested in compared to some previous price. So there's really two methods if you were doing this by hand that you would have to do. And so method number one, let's say the stock goes from 100 to 105 over some time period, maybe the past month. The first thing you're going to say is, how big is this move? Well, it's a $5 move. We just subtract those out. But now we have to take the $5 difference divided by the beginning price. Remember, it's ending price relative to the beginning. So it's a $5 difference divided by 100 gives us 0.05. We multiply by 100, and that is 5%. So fairly simple. I think everybody knows how to do a percentage change. But even though you can do this one in your head, it's probably not so easy when you're dealing with $3,000 stocks like an Amazon, or just really odd prices and having to do multiple calculations. Not only is it tedious, but it's also very easy to make a mistake. Now, on the way down, same idea. If the stock instead fell $5, we would say that is -5. And so we just take -5 divided by the beginning price of 105 gives us -0.048. Multiply that by 100 gives us -4.8%. So another little side note to be aware of is that even though we had a $5 move in both cases, whether we went from 100 to 105 or from 105 to 100, it's still a $5 move, but we get different answers. And that's because in the first case, we divided by 100, and in the second, we divided by 105. So just be aware of that, because I'll show you in a moment how that can also throw traders when you're in the time cycle tool. So this is the first method. The second method for understanding what you're going to be looking at, and I like this method a little better. So if we go from 100 to 105, you're just going to divide out the ending price divided by the beginning. So 105 divided by 100 is 1.05. Step number two, subtract off 1. 1.05 minus 1 is 0.05, and we're right back to the beginning. Multiply by 100, and you are right back to 5%. So the reason this method is faster is you just take the ending divided by the beginning, and it's just telling you it's 1.05 times bigger. So right here you can already see it's 5% bigger. You don't need to subtract them out and then divide, just a whole lot faster, but it gives you exactly the same answer. Now, what if the stock price instead fell? Would it give you the same calculations? Well, yes, it will. If we go from 105 down to 100, we take the ending value divided by the beginning. 100 divided by 105 gives us 0.952. Take 0.952 minus 1. That's always the second step. Subtract off 1 gives us minus 0.048. Multiplied by 100, and we're right back to minus 4.8%. But the main thing I'm trying to show you is that this is why it can be really helpful to have a tool like the time cycle tool, because otherwise you're having to do these calculations over and over to figure out how a stock has performed between various points in time. Now, again, the second thing to be aware of is when you're in this tool, you might see, for instance, a stock going from 100 to 105 over a given time, let's say over 30 days. And over that same time period, maybe it retraces from 105 back to 100. Well, you might think that that should give you the same answers, and we just saw that it won't. The time cycle tool will show you that this is a 5% increase here, but from here to here is a 4.8% decrease. So just keep that in mind when we're looking at this tool, but this is really all it's doing. It's just going to give you a much easier way to figure out how the stock has performed over given time periods. So with that, let's go over to the E-Trade platform and take a look at the time cycle tool. All right, so now we're into the E-Trade platform, and I'm going to use Amazon for the demonstration just to further show the power of this tool. It's a $3,300 stock. So imagine if you had to use this, punch these numbers into your calculator every time for a beginning and an ending price. It would be slow, and it's easy to make mistakes. But watch how easy it is with a time cycle tool. So to get there, start by clicking on this little pencil. These are your custom drawing tools. And in this drop-down menu over here on the left, way down near the bottom, right there is the time cycle tool. Left mouse click. Now you'll also get some other defaults. This purple color is going to be the background, as you'll soon see, and this blue color is the line that we're going to be drawing. So you could change those. You can also change the line that you're drawing if you wanted it to be a solid line or a dotted line. I'm just going to leave the defaults, but here's the way that it works. Let's say we wanted to know Amazon's performance from this point up to here. Left mouse click at your starting point, drag your mouse. You see that little angled line, that dotted line? That's our line that we're drawing, so I'm just going to anchor it to the ending point and left mouse click. So if I hover over that line, you'll see these two handles, these black dots, and look in this white box. That's telling me that this is a $613 increase from point A to point B. That's a 46% increase, and that's a distance of 89 bars. So because there's about 20 trading days in a month, that's getting close to 4.5 months. And if we wanted to find it specifically, we could zoom in and find the starting date and the ending date, but it's 89 bars. Now E-Trade is also showing us, do you see these rectangles equally spaced? That divides your chart into equally spaced time frames. So each of these vertical rectangles is 89 bars because that just happened to be the number of bars that I chose over here. So this gives me a way to make equal comparisons. I can look at the aggressiveness that it moved through here, and I can say, did it do it over the next 89 bars? Well, here it went sideways, here it was sideways. This looks like it might have been just as aggressive. And I can make equal comparisons. Now another nice thing is that I can overlap these. So maybe I do want to compare this segment. Let's say we'll click from down here, and it brings up a new one for us. So I'm just going to left mouse click right there, and that's telling me that from this starting point to this one, look in that white box, that's an increase of $864, 52% increase, and that's 50 bars. If I wish to delete them, just hover over the line or on these black dots, right mouse click, and away it goes. If you wish to bring up a previous one, either undo or redo, you can do that up here. So that undoes that last deletion. If I want to redo it, click there. So that's kind of nice if you happen to put some other time ranges on here and you want to go back to see them, things you had deleted, you can do that. It'll store a bunch of them for you. So it's actually a super simple tool, but very powerful. I use it quite a lot and thought it would be helpful to pass on to the traders in the group because it's really helpful to figure out just how aggressively your stock has been moving. And again, that can give you some helpful hints about which strikes and expirations to use. And it's super easy to do at the click of a mouse. And for anyone who'd like to learn more about the arts and science of options trading, please check out the Alpha Trader course, Strategy Lab, and a technical analysis course. It's all at optionsatoz.com. Also, please join us on the Facebook trading group, Options A to Z, and you can find a link in the description below.